Hi all, so my PlayStation 2 collection, and there's a 3 there. I've dug them all out because they're all sitting in the room plugged in, but needs a bit of a dusting, been sitting there for months. So how did I get into non-PC games, PlayStation, Xbox and the rest, the Nintendo, Switch, whatever, all of it. It's not a simple explanation. It's not straightforward. I only got into collecting games for non-computers because I bought into a war that was going on, and I sided with one YouTuber in this war against another YouTuber in this war, and buying the games, I was totally insane. I was insane, I admit that. Buying the games helped me fight the other YouTuber in the battle. And the more games I bought, the more I was beating the other YouTuber. That is completely insane. And I have to explain why. I was raised in a particular mindset within the Christian religion. Only now do I understand that there are Christians who have never heard of any of these conspiracy theories. They have no attachment to it. The war that I was fighting, good Christians against evil Christians, doesn't exist. Even though I was told that it did exist, it doesn't exist. Okay, so, I mean, obviously the biggest one is, so we were raised to believe that the Earth is only 6,000 years old. So you got, the more creation magazines you buy, the more Ken Ham DVDs you buy, the more you can get into the fight, into the war. Everything else is, that's all I got left. Everything else has been smashed and sent in the rubbish bin. That's the way I got out of it, was out of creationism, was to physically destroy the books. I wouldn't give this to someone to read. I mean, it's just utter crap. So the way out of it for me was to smash these videotapes with a hammer, the DVDs with a hammer, tore the books up. So I got very little left. I've just dug out what I have got. So the more creation magazines, the more I went to watch Ken Ham when he came to New Zealand, the more videotapes I bought, because we're talking about the 90s now, ages ago. And I've got Dr. Henry Morris's book somewhere up there. I'm not going to dig it out. So the more money I spent on funding the creation magazine, the more I contributed, the more I was helping them fight the war between young earth creation Christians and the enemy. So the only enemy I ever knew about was Hugh Ross, because he believes in creation, but he believes that God set evolution in motion, and the rest is all history. So there's a battle between Ken Ham, Kent Hovind, and Hugh Ross, and the battle's still going on. I mean, it's not going to stop. But I've completely pulled out of the battle. I've resigned. Now, back in 2000, I kept asking everyone in the church, how do I resign? How do I drop my weapons? How do I stop fighting this war? It's like being a targeted citizen. Nobody could understand what I was trying to say, so they couldn't help me. So it's taken, 21 years now to get out of that war, the creation versus evolution war. To the creationists, you've got to believe this, because this is going to bring millions of heathens, atheists, to heaven. Stop millions of people from going, millions and millions and millions of people from going to hell. So yeah, So that was, you know. So there was this whole other thing, there we go, of people, Christians, who lied, who were con artists, that sold books, videotapes, books, about how they were saved from being a high priest of Satan. And of course, the most important one, Stephen Dollars, because, you know, he was somehow a member of Anton LaVey's church. I mean, you know, Mike Walkie, I don't think made it that high. Or Bill Snivlin, I'm not sure. They're just amateur, fake, ex-Satanists. So I had hundreds of videotapes, DVDs, books about the war between Christians and those who believe in Halloween. So I'm out of that war. I don't even live... Halloween in our country is not a thing, but in America, with Carol Matriciana and Dave Hunt and all that.
While there are some people who may be concerned about the origins of Halloween and its focus on blood, death, horror, and the occult, to millions of youngsters across the nation,
we did actually. We had an anti-Halloween church thing where I dressed up as a clown and entertained the kids, did the chocolate song. I do the donkey song, I just love doing that one. But anyway, so yeah, we did do that, an anti-Halloween. So there's the whole Smurfs are evil.
Smurf sheets, Smurf covers, Smurf curtains, Smurf everything. They took out and they burned those Smurf things.
Yeah, the most important one was the end of the world. End times, the whole end times ministry is a gigantic cult. It's just everything has to change every year. So Putin's no longer the Antichrist and Henry Kissinger's no longer the Antichrist. It'll be somebody else tomorrow, it'll be somebody else the day after. It'll be 2021 and then it'll be 2022. So, you know, I got a videotape, 2005 reasons why Jesus is coming in 2005. So, yeah, all of this end times ministry was a big, huge part of my brainwashing. My entire life, the more books I bought, the more I was able to fight the war against the Antichrist coming to earth and putting a mark on everybody's right hand or forehead. Oops. So that they can buy and sell. Yeah, all that. So everything that I was taught, everything I was taught scientifically and historically is not true. So I've had to start from scratch. So I'm starting in the Sumerian Empire, relearning the real history of planet Earth. Because to stretch my mind from Adam and Eve 4004 BC, that's when the universe came into being, and to stretch that back to millions of years is just impossible. It just stretches, just so confusing.
Okay, so here we go. The reason for my becoming a collector of non-PC games is episode 40 of the AVGN, the Zelda timeline. So I'd never heard of Zelda before this. You know, I've been into Amigas and PCs. So I'm Zool, Cannon Fodder, Flashback, you know, PCs, Red Alert, Command and Conquer, you know, Oblivion, Age of Empires, Need for Speed 1, 2 and 3, Need for Speed SE with a 3D FX Voodoo 2 card that I spent a ton of money on. Okay, so this is where the fun begins. I'd given up the whole Jesus is returning in 2000, 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, he's not coming. So I was looking for another conspiracy theory. And I did come across one, which was a group of Christians who believed that you should only read the King James Version, 1611, of the Bible, otherwise you were going to hell. You weren't truly saved, you weren't being spiritually fed. And all modern Bibles, NIV, New King James, blah, 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 are all evil, satanic Bibles written by the devil. So fire all the translators. The devil did the translating. You know, straightforward conspiracy. So I got through that one. So my mind was still focused on religion and focused on the battle between good and evil. So it had changed over the years from Hinduism being evil, Mormonism being evil, blah, blah, blah being evil, to the Halloween thing, to all the music I was listening to was evil. Black Sabbath, Kiss, Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, all evil, all satanic. Boy George. Yeah. So I had to find, so I could only, and I guess I lived that way up until New Year's Day this year, 2021. I think I lived this way still. I had to have a conflict to exist. I had to be part of a conflict so that I could feel alive. And the more I bought on the good side of the battle, creation versus evolution, the more I spent on the good side, the more I could fight the bad side. So collected heaps of books on creation, and I had a lot of the enemies books. Had a lot of them. I got Stephen Hawking's book. He's evil, you know. He's an evolutionist. Richard Dawkins, evolutionist. Charles Darwin, the founding father of the religion of evolution. Got all the enemies books. Yeah, whatever. So sometimes I have the enemy's material in all the battles. Except for all that new age bullshit and the end times crap and all that. Some debates, not debates, because they were wars. They were literally wars between heaven and hell, angels and demons. So in a world where Dan Brown's books, which are stolen off Michael Bagent, Richard Pierce, are real. So all the cartoons where you got a devil on one shoulder and an angel, they're real. Angels and demons exist and possess you and make you sick and steal your possessions and blah blah blah. So I had to have the good side and sometimes even the bad side. In this case, I have the good side and the bad side of a war between good and evil. So good and evil, Antichrist, Jesus, creation, evolution. So my mind was still in that attitude that I had to pick a war, which is why until I'd say a few months ago, I got into the war between flat earthers and globe earthers, sovereign citizens and normal people, First Amendment auditors and normal people. I mean, the conflict, all being arrested and taken to prison and all that sort of stuff. It had to be a conflict. So this is the biggest change in my life. Since I've started writing my own book, I've lost interest. I've totally lost interest in the flat earth. I mean, once J.M. Truth disappeared, you've got Nathan Thompson left, and that's it. It's a dead language. It's a dead subject. There is no conflict. So, yeah. So I've lost that. That's okay. I'm telling myself this right now because I've got to realise this. So there's no longer a battle in my head between good and evil. So that's why I feel since January the 1st this year, it's now only the 19th of Jan here in New Zealand, 19 days I felt lost. I felt like I haven't got a battle to fight anymore, which is totally cool because I'm so free to do whatever the hell I want. But that is so uncomfortable. There's no routine, there's no, I must do this to fight in the war between King James Version Biblists and NIV Biblists. I've lost that and I don't know what to do, so I'm just gonna have fun. yeah, okay. I'm explaining this to myself, yeah. Right, so the battle, okay, it's here on my computer. These videos are probably no longer available. There probably is a few still online. So it's the battle between the AVGN and the Iraq Gamer. There's a whole bunch of, I can't believe it's not AVGN. Protected by fair use because Iraq Gamer was trying to do a flat earther and, you know, suing them for using his footage. And you've got RAR. To the Mario. Aladdin. So the reason I got into... I can't alt tab. Put it on this window. No. Episode 4, okay. So, it all began for me here we go. So it all began for me not straight away, I guess. This video was the beginning of me buying things that were non-PC, even though that's the Genesis version? No, it's not. That's the SNES version, and I've got the same version of that game on my Amiga versus the Genesis version, which is a lot cooler. So I started playing Aladdin on an emulator, and I guess I started downloading emulators. So yeah, that is point one. So every game that the AVGN talked about and ASALARE talked about and the Iraq Gamer talked about, I downloaded. So that explains my huge collection of unplayed emulated games. So this is the episode that got me started in buying these non-PC games. And when I say that, I have to confess that I just bought the games. I have Zool on a SNES cartridge there, but I've never owned an SNES. I bought Game Boy games, Game Boy Color games, anything I could find. But I had no consoles to play them on. I didn't buy them to play them. I did not buy these things to play them. I bought them to fight the war between the AVGN and the Iraq Gamer because of all the support he had from ASALARE, Silent Bob. I'll get his name right when I play the video. So that was it, you know. I was fighting his war. I was a total AVGN junkie. And like I said, they're still going today. The videos no longer have any of that flair in them. But they're still going. Iraq Gamer just released a video the other day. Weird. So that's, okay, so buying games back then. So the first one I got was Majora's Mask. I bought that before I bought Ocarina. So my favourite of these two is Majora's Mask, because I never owned an N64. I've seen one. My cousin had one, but you know, I closed my eyes to the PlayStation, to the Genesis, Master System, Mega Drive, all the different names, whatever. I didn't know what they were. My nephew had GoldenEye, so he must have owned an N64, and I was oblivious to it. I was just total walking around with my eyes closed. And as I said, when we get onto the Game Boy stuff, I worked in a toy department that sold Game Boys. Turned a blind eye to it. So, yeah. Majora's Mask, Ocarina. First two games I bought full price, brand new. Spirit Tracks is from eBay, Amazon. And I've got my Phantom. I got Spirit Tracks and Phantom Hourglass in there because I never got a case for Phantom Hourglass. And of course, my personal favourite, next to Link's Awakening. I know I've got Breath of the Wild, but my favourite next to Link's Awakening, because I like these better than I hate these games. Hyrule Warriors, it's in there somewhere. And I've never played Triforce Heroes. I wonder if the green screen screws that up. Sorry. Kind of probably does. So my second favourite to Link's Awakening is Link Between Worlds. If they did re-release Zelda 1 and 2, the only games I'd never play, I would buy them. I would play. Imagine Zelda 1 and 2 in 3D. I mean, wow, that would be amazing. So the closest we've got is the Game Boy Color remake, which is in there, of Link's Awakening. And I got, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, sorry. I got A Link to the Past on the SNES, eShop thing, where you just pay $5 a month or whatever to play all the SNES games. So the reason I bought these was not to play them. The reason I bought these was to help the AVGN fight Chris Bors. As insane as that sounds, I have to tell the truth. I just have to tell the truth. Nobody knew what I was doing. It's like, no, I'm not going to go there. Say that dude that buys balloons, he's got a balloon fetish. So nobody understands it. So I had all these games. I'm in the room full of games, but nothing to play them on. So that's the first point I want to make. Oh, there it is. Hyrule Warriors Legends. I've never played that. I know it's out on the new version on the Switch. I'll buy it because I want all the Zelda games as a collector, but not necessarily play them. I've just bought myself Twilight Princess on the Wii U. So that's one that I've never played all the way through, and of course Wind Waker. So yeah, got all these games that I want to play that I bought. Actually, no, I didn't buy them to play them. I'm telling myself this. I bought them to have them, so they exist, so that I was fighting a war. Now that I'm out of that, I want to play these games now. So all these games I've had for decades, I'm finally getting around to actually putting them in the system and playing them. So that is a big, huge breakthrough, So yeah, I play Mario Kart, Mario World Golf. What's this? Mahjong? Sudoku? Oh, yeah. Driver, Renegade, Eggshell Pool, all these games I bought, $5-6 each. Bought them just to have them, to exist. Now, I guess, I'm not trying to blame people, but I was also addicted to watching the GameStar 81, and all the collectors who had rooms full of every version of every console and every game in existence. They had them. I've forgotten his name, but the guy that's, the ones with, not just Pat, with the, the NES cartridge, or whatever the hell. Anyway, not just people who had stadium events and the game from 80, whatever, forgotten, and all that sort of stuff. The obscure Bandai NES games and all that. So they actually, I have to say that. All my games are falling down. So flea markets. So watching Pat going to flea markets. In New Zealand, in my country, you just can't see an NES game, an SNES game, a Sega Mega Drive game, a Sega Master System game. Actually, I've seen one. I wanted $100 for the system in a game. And I'm like, well, I'm only buying it to have it. I'm not buying it to play on it. So what's the point? So I did start to come out of this collecting games just for the sake of owning games. There was a point when I did want to have a full collection of one particular brand, which would have been the DS. And of course, it's impossible in my country. It's impossible to do that. I used to dream about winning the lotto and just buying boxed versions of every NES game ever. So yeah, so that's point one. We'll finish there. I got two of these. I'm using one to put the games that I want to play on. This is 208. 208 games on one cartridge. And I hacked that, but there's no SD card in this. This is 369 and what? 3? Yeah, 369 of 1. So I was hoping I could put the games on here that I wanted to play, but it doesn't work. Anyway, so that's the end of part one. I hope you enjoyed it. I haven't got Skyward Sword yet. It's the only game I haven't got. So, yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. Part 2 from PlayStation 2 to whatever I started buying after I had my PlayStation 2. Stay tuned.
Okay, so I started late. I was buying consoles years and years after they were popular, and I got them dirt cheap. So the first one I bought would have been this. I found this. I fixed this one up the other day. $5, $3, and I fixed it. Weird. So the first one I bought was this for $40 in an op shop. I went because I went to buy books as usual, and what have you got in there? Burnout 3. Oh, there's your Burnout 3 disc. Yeah, you probably got freaking discs on every one of them. Oh, Ratchet and Clank. Oh, that's where all your games have gone missing too. So, God, you'll have to plug that in and see what's in it. Yeah. So this is the one I'm using for real. It's less noisy than the big beast. Yeah. Anyway, so the first one I bought was this. And I stuck the little smiley face on it because it came with that, came with 2 microphones, and I bought another 2 for $5 because I smashed the other blue one. It's gone. And all these SingStar plug for the PS2 is in a box way down the back on the floor behind that. So, yeah. So, it came with PlayStation, 2 mics, and 2 PS3 controllers. 2 controllers. So with every PS2 I bought, I get another controller. Careful. So that's 2, 4, 5. The other one, oh here. 6 controllers. So got about 6 controllers. The ones that came with the PS3 need a clean. Were drifting. Is that the word when the character keeps drifting to the left? So I bought some cheap ass controllers from from stolen property. Cash converters. I used to work for them. How can you forget the name? I bought some real cheapos, but these are awesome. And of course, you know, the question is, I got Ratchet and Clank, everyone on PS2, and now I've got Ratchet and Clank. Most of the games are duplicates on the PS3, so the question is, I'm asking myself, you know, after seeing that you can mod the PS3 to play PS2 games, that would give me room to maybe ISO these, but I don't really want to get rid of, no, I'm not going to do that. I had my collection would up to the roof, so you know, I've got the collection way down, but these games are the most important to me and I'm not selling them ever. Need for Speed Underground, Most Wanted, Pro Street, Ratchet and Clank, Gladiator, Up Your Arsenal, Ghost Recon, Jungle Storm, Jedi Starfighter, Ratchet Clank 3, Splinter Cell Chaos Series, blah blah blah. So that's what I'm keeping, and don't need that many consoles, so it's another thing to think about. Anyhow, so that's PS2. Let's get on to the PlayStation story.